So I think Dr. Madhukar has joined us.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, welcome Dr. Mani Madhukar. It's an honor to have you here for the session. So before Sir starts his session, I would like to introduce his brief profile. Dr. Mani Madhukar, he has 16 years of experience in IT with exposure to both industry and academia. He holds a doctorate in computer science and executive program and management from McIntyre School of Commerce, University of Virginia. He's passionate about learning and sharing knowledge. His work areas include academic program management, IBM cloud pre-sales, cloud application development, infrastructure and platform cloud services, electronic content management, competency development, mentoring startups, curriculum design, and project management. As part of IBM, he has worked in various roles across different technologies, including cloud, blockchain, IoT, data science, DevOps, and IBM Watson. Sir, to his credit, he has research papers in national and international conferences and journals, including SCI publications, chapter contributions to book, including Springer. He's reviewed to few journals and authored blogs on cloud, big data, machine learning, sentiment analysis, IBM Watson, and recommender systems. So we are honored, sir, to have you amongst us, and I hope all the participants will have a great learning time and from your experience and from your knowledge. So I welcome you again on behalf of Sri Shankaracharya Technical Campus. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And let me sort of present. I hope my screen is visible to you. Is this visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So good afternoon, all, and welcome to this session of this organized by SSTC Bhilai. I would request you to take a snapshot of this page because I will be coming back to these slides, in some time again, and I will refer to them how we need them in this session and the subsequent session that we'll have later on, in this course. So do take a snapshot or a photograph. You can just click it, and we'll come back to the links later on. Okay. Before going further, right, let's try and understand a few things. You have been, I guess, 2020 had been a great learning experience on all different accounts, good, bad, worse. But from a technical learning, I'm sure you would have attended tens of workshops and faculty development programs, whatever, right? So many in the course of the year. And I'm sure you would have, acquainted yourself with a lot of new technology areas as well. But the point is, why do we need to do that, right? Why is that we need to learn new technologies, and why are they so much more important? So the answer to the question lies in, if in case you can see around yourself and you can see the differences, in the what has happened in last 5-6 years or maybe 8 years in terms of market, in terms of businesses that have thrived, you will see a lot of new type of businesses who have succeeded and captured the market like no other, right? Taxis had been there for a long period of time, right? But Olas and Ubers really changed the way we use road transportation. Similarly, we had been traveling for eternity, and hospitality industry has been there, hotels, all of that had been there. But the way Airbnb changed things, it was really a sort of a disruptor. We call them as disruptors. And same goes with all these online retailing shops like Alibaba, Flipkarts, and Amazons of the world, and so many more examples can be given to some such things. So the point is, these all businesses thrived and they actually flourished because they disrupted the way businesses were being done. They changed the way businesses were being perceived and done earlier, right? That's the reason they're called disruptors, and they really, thrived big time. Now, disruption is typically fueled by technology, right? And hence, it's really imperative to understand what all technologies really, were contributing element to this digital transformation. So if you see there, you'll find, most of these technologies already which are mainstream, including cloud, including infrastructure, platform as a service, software as a service, AI, ML, blockchain, augmented reality, 3D printing, big data analytics, mobility, and all, right? They have all contributed in big and small ways to the overall digital transformation of the market that we see today. So if that is the case, then in your learning, in your teaching, you should have at least one or more than one areas aligned to what you teach or what you learn to remain to keep yourself afloat, because technology changes very fast. So it is very really important for you to be in sync with what technology is coming up, what is needed in the market, where will the demand will. So if you go to the Gartner survey, recent one, and you will see the top 10 technologies which will be there in 2021, we can really get a good landscape. You can go to a canvas that what should be you be working on in next years or so, right? So cloud has been there for a while, and the market adoption to public cloud has been a bit slower. When we say cloud, we basically talk about two types of companies: born on the cloud companies and legacy companies. So all those companies which had been there for last 20, 30, 40 odd years doing businesses, having solutions, those are all legacy companies, right? Who have a legacy solution, and those solutions may or may not be fit to be brought on cloud, right? So that's one piece. Second is those companies which are actually creating solutions for the cloud. So those are the born in the cloud companies. And then you have all the host of cloud providers, including AWS, IBM, Microsoft, Google, and then the likes. But if you see the overall picture, out of 100% of the workloads, only 20% of the workloads, when I say workloads, I mean to say the applications. 20% of the applications are only right now moved to cloud, despite having a clear cost advantage using a public cloud, right? And what is holding back, and if you see the overall market size, it's worth like 500 million new applications have been created in almost like 5 years, or will be getting created in by 2023. And you know what? 90% of the innovation is fueled by public cloud services, be it microservices architecture, which is replacing the monolithic things, and so on, right? And one third of those will be actually cloud native apps, means written for the cloud, right? That's that. Now, if that is the case, then where is the gap, and why you need to understand the gap, right? So you should try, and this is where you come in the overall picture of things. Of all the major reasons, including there may be certain workloads which cannot move to cloud for compliance region, for security reason, or so many more, and there may be choice of multiple cloud vendors, which, and your solution might be using multiple clouds. The major reason of all of this is amongst this is lack of necessary skills, right? Be it deployment and developing for private clouds or public clouds or hybrid clouds or whatever. Lack of necessary skills is really one big reason where you come and fit in. Okay, so unless you create those skills in the in the upcoming workforce, it's really hard to really groom them in 6 months, 1 year of time when they are really needed in the industry. So it's really important for to the students to have skills on cloud, on multi-cloud, and all of that when they're actually coming to the industry for joining us. Now, why IBM Cloud? One, because it's based on OpenShift, right? It's open standard for infrastructure as service, right? It's completely open source, which is running on Kubernetes, and you can write the code once and you can run that anywhere because it supports it's on the OpenShift, Red Hat OpenShift thing, right? Then we basically have the most secure cloud, right? Highest level of encryption, which is FIPS 142.0 level, right? And then amongst other things, it's compliant to both HIPAA, FedRAMP, and so many other standards, right? Then this cloud that we're talking about is enterprise grade, which basically provides support for VMware, Power9, AIX, SAP, Microsoft, Windows, Linux, all of them, right? And we also provide something called as bare metal. So cloud, when we talk about, typically we talk about virtualized environment, right? Virtualized infra. But then for the IBM Cloud, you have this option of bare metal, which is more suitable to certain workloads where there are high intensive IOPS, which require certain workloads which require very high IOPS. For those, bare metal is also can be provisioned, right? And then there is a high availability of 99.99% and all those. So I'll not get into that. I'll skip a few slides. Please do not bother about that. I'll actually talk about the relevant ones, because in today's session, I'm going to cover about two pieces. One is the cloud and the other is Watson, right? And what we'll be doing in the subsequent section is how we can use Watson for doing machine learning. I'll give you a demo today, and maybe we'll do some hands-on in the next session when we have. And before we do that, guys, I'm going to take you through those links which I told you, which will help you in terms of preparing for the hands-on. Where do you get the software? Where do you get the data set and all that? And then we will do the hands-on in the next session. Once you prepare, you download those software and you install it in your local machine. So I'll come on to that piece in a while, you guys. This is all about why cloud-based strategy. How is the CAGR different from traditional IT versus public or private cloud? See 30% increase, 16%, the compound annual growth rate compared to the typical IT ones. And we all know that every device today that we use, be it microwaves, be it refrigerators, be it television sets, be it cars, they're all generating a lot of information, right? Everything is controlled by ICS chips, which have some amount of code written in that to control them, to govern them. This is just in terms of sort of catching up that computing has evolved over a lot of time, and cloud is nothing new. It has been there for a while, right? We had distributed applications a long time back, right? Even 20, 30 years back. But all that really made cloud look good was compute getting cheaper and cheaper as we have evolved, right? So that has really fueled the adoption of cloud. And then, of course, virtualization and software-defined everything, including networking, and all that really contributed to the absorption of cloud computing that way. So I'll not dig into this. This is a typical example. I'm sure most of us are familiar with this. What is cloud? How is cloud? What are the typical, stack that we talk about, right? Traditional on-premise sources, infrastructure, PaaS, SaaS. I'm not going to dig into this. In case you have any queries regarding any of these, please put it on chat. I'll be more than happy to answer it, once I take a brief pause in a while now. So what typically IBM Cloud offers is compute hybrid, which is delivered across public, private, and dedicated as well. And then it has almost like 60 plus data centers across the globe, including one in India, and offers around 350 plus composable services across different categories. And as we saw, as we already talked about, it's built on open standards and architecture. Now I'm going to go to my browser and I'm going to share this link, right? You can also open it up. ibm.biz/academic, the link that you see at the bottom. This is where I'm going to go now, okay, in order to explain to you what this platform is and how people, how faculty, how students, how people in academia can really leverage this platform. Okay, so I'm gonna share and go back to my browser now just to share this link that I was talking to you about, Rhea. So right now I'm here on this academic initiative platform. This is the page. This is the main page, looks like. And what this page actually has is, let me share that, right? This page has content across 9 technology areas: cloud, data science, security, quantum computing, system engineering or software engineering, systems Z, power systems, blockchain, and IBM Watson, right? It has a lot of content across this. Now, how is this content relevant for you guys? Let me dig into one area. Let's say today we're talking about ML, so data science. Let me dig into data science, okay? So the content is basically arranged in 4-5 tabs here: resources, software, courseware, badges, and career, and all those things, right? So let's come to this place here. So as a researcher, the first thing that you really struggle with is getting hands-on on a data set, right? Where do you get the relevant data set to work with the problem that you are identified and you want to work with, right? So here is this platform called Data Asset Exchange. It is a repository for developers, for people in academia, for students, for researchers, where they can download free and open data sets under ODL. Okay, there are hundreds of data sets which are available here, which you can download regarding, with images, with text, with what do you say? So a lot of different categories of data sets you'll find here, okay, including this thing, speech as well, okay. Second is if you go to software, this is basically a tab which can help you download a lot of these software without any charge, and that to license software, right? And you can download them, install them on your local machines, right from so Watson Data Studio, Watson Studio Desktop is what I would recommend you to download. I will send a mail, I'll get a mail sent to all of you after this session that I'm having. I'll send it to the organizer and they can forward it to you. So you can download this, install it on a local machine. Similarly, iLog, CPLEX, those who work on optimization problem, operation research. SPSS model, I'm sure most of you would be familiar with this, right? And this is a premium edition which is available from this portal without any charges to you, including Cognos Analytics and all those things, right? Similarly, once you have the software, the next thing is that you would need is some courseware, right? So for example, we are talking about machine learning today, right? So you have both these links available, Watson Machine Studio, which is like Watson Studio Machine Learning made easy. And then once you have completed a course, you have some assisted badges, right? Foundation level, intermediate level, advanced level badges. And all of this, so this is about data science, by the way, right? So somebody who is interested in quantum, they can actually go to the quantum tab. And again, the same thing, right? They have access to IBM Q, which is IBM's quantum computer on cloud. They can, request for access. They can get it there. It's a 53-qubit quantum computer. Similarly, you can download the Qiskit and the Qiskit Aqua, which is the library for cross-domain quantum algorithms. There's some courseware which can be downloaded and you can use to learn and teach your students and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of content across different technologies, including software engineering as well. You can have those tools like Doors and Rhapsody and all for doing software engineering things. So the point I'm trying to make is this is so easy to do. All that you need to do is register here with an institutional email ID. Okay. Now, when I say institutional email ID, let's say if my mail ID is se@sstc.ac.in. Let's say this is my mail ID, right? So in case my college is not registered with academic initiative, I will tell you how to get the access to this. Let's say my email ID is @mnit.ac.in, let's say, for example. So what will happen is I simply need to go and I register. See, my college is already added there, right? So I can just register like as a faculty or a staff or as a student. In case you are in front of your machines, you can please open up this link and you can register along with me in case the college has access. You can just select one of those degrees which matches nearly to you. You don't have to be precise about this. Same goes to the department as well, right? And you need to click on these two links to accept both of these things. So the point is, once you register here using your institutional email ID, you can download all these software, all these courseware, these digital badges. Everything is available for free without any charges. Then this is all no cost software for you. Though it comes with a cost, it's all enterprise grade software, but then for academia, it is made available without any charges. So all that you need to do is, so let me now go back to the, the slide, the first slide that I was showing you, and I said I'll come back to this again, right? Okay, if you see here, this is the first link for accessing academic initiative program, okay? In case your college has given you an institutional email ID and the college is not listed there on the portal, the way I showed you a while back, so you can always go to this bit.ly link, which is available, and you can put your college name and all here, your college name, your email ID and your college website. And I can get the college access enabled in 24, 36 hours, whatever it takes, right? And maybe then you can again register and download. So this is another way. Third is, in case your college does not provide you with an institutional email ID, for example, somebody has a Gmail, Hotmail one, they can for now request a Smart Interns mail ID for the time being, which is valid till December 2020. They will immediately get a Smart Interns email ID, and then they can use this mail ID for downloading the software or downloading the courseware for academic initiative website. So whatever approach works well, you can actually try and do that, whatever works good for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put all these links in the chat, and you can pick it from there. I'm just putting it on the chat. Okay, so this is one way, and one more point, right? So somebody who is interested in cloud, you can also get access to IBM Cloud free of cost for any number of years, by the way, right? Till the time you have the institutional email ID. Okay. Again, if you go to the cloud thing, you have courseware you can download and you can teach cloud using that. Similarly, you have badges as well there. But let's go to the software part, right? So you can actually generate a IBM Cloud feature code, which can give you, even a better access compared to a light account that you normally get over there, right? Then you can also download Cabanero, and you can also ask for cloud credits worth, $1,000 USD, depending upon, what sort of research you want to use, what sort of, things you want to do there. So this is really cool, I guess, in terms of getting hands on to this. So in the next session, what we are going to do is, guys, I want you to actually go and download IBM Watson Studio. I will share a PDF in due course of time on step-by-step ways to do that. Please download and install Watson Studio Desktop from this after you register with an institutional email ID between now and my next session that we have. That's what I want you to do. And then let me go back to my presentation. So this was all about IBM Cloud, right? Let me go to the second piece of the conversation today. Okay, let me take a small pause here and let me address if there are any questions. Any queries so far, guys? Any questions you'd like to ask, talk about?
So, Mr. Madhukar, is it essential for the institute to be the academic partner, or only the institutional mail ID will do to access these licensed softwares and cloud?
Ma'am, what's your mail ID? What's a college domain? Can you just tell me what is it?
You're saying mine?
No. Your college's domain. What is the domain that you give to your student?
sstc.ac.in.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is, unless we get the college added, so you don't need to do anything. All that you need to do is you need to put in a request either on the bit.ly link which I've given you, or you can just write to me directly and I can get this enabled. Even today I'll do it. But in case, you use some other mail ID, then something else, right? Let's say test@, srm.university.ac.in. Let's say, for example. So in case this say, for example, this is already registered there, right? So the moment you just do it, you can quickly register without any this thing. So the college needs to be enrolled here for getting access, ma'am. This is what is needed. So in case you do not have that enrollment yet, so you can actually use the second link, the bit.ly link which I had given you, and I can get it done for you. So that is another way of getting things done.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
Okay. Any other questions, folks? Anything else you would like to ask so far what we discussed? No? Okay. Okay, if there is no question, then let me go ahead and let me discuss further. So next I'm going to talk about, right, the Watson, that is the underlying backbone of whatever machine learning things we are going to do in today and maybe the next session. And this is IBM Cloud, guys, right? So once you register on AI portal, you can use the same email ID to register here also on IBM Cloud, cloud.ibm.com. And you get access to all of these like 350 plus services, as I was telling you earlier, which are across different segment, right? These services are across different segment, including compute, containers, AI, machine learning, analytics, blockchain, and many. So we'll focus on the AI and machine learning piece today, which has 19 services under this. I'll touch upon only two today, Watson Studio and Watson Machine Learning. Okay, so let me go and let me share my deck again with you, and then we will come back to this and we will address more about things here. Okay, so this was cloud. Why did I start with cloud? Because cloud is an umbrella. Cloud is the enabling technology. And in this umbrella, all the other technologies actually come and hook up, be it mobile applications, be it machine learning, be it blockchain, be it DevOps, be it IoT, all of them actually converge onto cloud. So it's really important for you to know cloud before you get a start with all other things today, okay? So that's the reason I started with basically cloud, right? And now I'm actually moving towards Watson. Again, this is the same thing which I showed you earlier, right? It's all about data, like what's the current opportunity? Almost like 438 billion in 2020, right? And this is actually increasing at the rate of 15%. So you can understand from a private cloud point of view, or 18% from a public cloud point of view, this is a very big market size, right? And a lot of opportunities right now and times to come. So the resources that you are grooming, and the research that you are doing can actually fit into one of these areas, right? Particularly if you talk about multi-cloud, there is a lot of scope and research in this area. There's a lot of scope of patents in this area, right? Okay. So this is where we are right now, where we are coexisting between legacy and cloud native applications. And this is going to be like this for some years now, right? For another maybe 10 years now, because it's not possible to port the legacy application which have been there for almost like 40, 50 years, ever since computing got evolved, right? All those COBOL, Pascal based applications, or running on a CICS or a mainframes, you just can't make them cloud native today, right? So you have to in phases port them in some manner. Similarly, at the same time, all the new application that is being developed today, it's basically being developed using microservices-based architecture, right? I'm sure you would be familiar with the microservices and containerized application things, right? So I'm not getting into that right now. But then that's where is, that's what is people are moving towards. Coming to how AI is actually connecting to cloud, we basically talk about a prescriptive approach to that AI journey, which talks about 4 basic steps. Now, most of you who are AI ML researchers or who have worked in that will definitely be able to correlate this, right? So right from collection of data and, organizing the data, then analyzing of the data, and finally, whatever, insights you get, you want to infuse that, operationalize that, in some manner. That's where, the overall, this is a typical AI ladder, right? And we are going to focus upon the 2 things at the top, right? Analyzation, getting the insights, and then, operationalizing those insights. This is what will be the focus today and in the next session as well, right? And we basically will also talk about how we are automating the underlying 2 steps there, right? We will see that in a while. Okay, so this is where you'll be very much familiar with how do you actually, design, build, and train data science and various AI models. Then, you basically deploy and run, and you retrain the ML models anywhere. You typically use it both predictive and prescriptive modeling, data mining, and statistical analysis in some way or the other. Now, this is what typically the data analysis talks about, right? Doing a forecasting analytics, automating the model deployment, and business process integration, right? And when you talk about the infusion of AI, that's when you have already got the insights from the data, how do you operationalize that, right? Here, a typical problem comes about, having a fairness in the model. And I can give you so many examples where we had live ML models operational in production, and later out it turned out that the models were basically trained with biased data, and eventually the the analytics or the insights which the model was providing the users was also biased, right? A typical example is is a payroll based system which was implemented in US some years back, and this payroll system used to assist the judge in terms of suggesting him whether the convict or the person who has come before him should be given a payroll or not. That was the system, right? And eventually, after years of utilization, it was understood that this particular system was heavily biased, towards a certain race, towards a certain creed, because of issues with color or because of the region that they belong to. So many factors were the reasons for this bias. Why did it creep in? Because the data with which the model was actually trained was itself biased. Another good example is, if you actually take this Bollywood movie data set, which is available on GitHub, right? For last 30, 40 years, the movies which have been released, there is a data set about that, which basically talks about, various top plots of the movies, various, what had been the climaxes of the movies, who had been the lead, whether it's a male dominated, female dominated, what sort of, all those things have been there, which are covered in those data set. If you train a model with that data set, and if you try to put that in production, what happens is it actually always tries to give a skewed results, which is biased towards male. Why? Because all the, most of the, not all, most of the, movies which have come over these decades have mostly be male dominated. The plots have been male dominated, right? So if you try to train a model and then try to get the insights from that, it is anyways going to be biased because the underlying data set is itself biased, right? And it's really important that the model that you're deploying has transparency. It has to has explainability today. Now, this is not there earlier, in the earlier adoption of AI. But today we talk about transparency, we talk about explainability, we talk about bias mitigation, right? And these decisions cannot be So AI cannot be a black box anymore. The decisions have to be auditable. They have to be traceable. There has to be accuracy analytics, embedded into the system to check that the results are really supposed to be doing. And in case the results are not up to the mark, then the system needs to be retrained. You have to go back to the drawing board, and you have to retrain the model, and you have to again do the deployment for that, right? So this is where we talk about infusion of AI or operationalization of AI with trust and transparency, right? We'll see how Watson machine learning fits into the overall scheme of things. Okay. So coming back to what IBM AI portfolio is, which I was showing you on the cloud, mapping to the various ladders of AI is, IBM provides for something called as IBM Cloud Private for data. Now, I'm not going into the details of this because it is a huge, big topic. But just to give you a narrative about it, IBM ICP, we call it as ICP. ICP, what for data, is basically a stack of open source frameworks, open source libraries built on top of IBM built on top of Red Hat OpenShift, and this can be deployed anywhere, right? So as a developer, you do not have to import, let's say, a TensorFlow or a Keras or a PyTorch or Caffe when you're working with any of these, frameworks. All of that is actually built into the system. Also, it basically provides you the engine of Watson Studio and Watson machine learning for deployment. It also gives you the power of cataloging using Watson knowledge, and you can manage, the overall model using Watson Open Scale there, right? So it's a complete packaged service, which includes a lot of these components, which are really handy from a data scientist or from a machine learning researcher's point of view. Okay, so we're going to be focusing about Watson Studio and Watson machine learning from a build and deploy perspective today. In the next session, also, we'll not be talking about Watson knowledge catalog and the Watson Open Scale, in my session. Okay, so let's try and get a grab of what Watson Studio is. Basically, it helps in for preparing of data and building some models which can scale across cloud, right? Now this is it provides various capabilities. It basically automates the overall AI lifecycle with Auto AI. I'll not dig into Auto AI today. I'll cover that as a part of my session in the next in my next session. And it also builds model using images with Watson Visual Recognition Service, and for text it uses Watson Natural Language Classifier for doing all the text analytics. So that all is part of the Watson Studio. We'll see that today. You can deploy and run models through a one-click integration using Watson machine learning, which is embedded, and it works in sync with Watson Studio. And of course, as I said earlier, you can manage and monitor your models through Watson Open Scale, which we'll not be covering. Okay, so this is how you typically connect all these three things together, as I just said, right? From a Watson Studio point of view, we basically do the data exploration, data preparation, and model development, right? Once you have the model available, what you can do is, you basically build the model, you basically deploy the model, and for deploying the model, you use Watson machine learning, right? So this again is a cycle which basically talks about deployment, retraining, and model management, right? That's like a complete cycle in its own, which is managed by WML, Watson machine learning, right? It's very easy to actually deploy the models for from our WML point of view. We will learn that piece today and next class as well. And then for orchestrating and for monitoring, we have the Open Scale there, right? Okay. So it has that fairness and explainability that we're talking about, right? It has that AI 360-degree framework embedded into it, which accounts for the fairness and bias mitigation in the AI models. But from the point of our conversation, we'll only constrain to Watson Studio and Watson machine learning. Okay. I'm going to skip a few slides. Yeah, this is what I was talking to you about, right? So there is a complete package that we talk about, right? Which is Docker enabled, which is Kubernetes, which is NVIDIA, GPU support, which has Power AI support, which has all the deep learning runtimes and machine learning runtimes, including Apache Spark, XGBoost, Spark, AMLab, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Caffe, Keras, all of them. And on top of that, you have again a layer of all the authoring tools, including Jupyter Notebook, RStudio, Spaces Modeler, Data Refinery, Model Builder, Decision Optimization, Watson Explorer, and Streams Designer. It's actually huge, guys. We'll see that in a while, right? Similarly, when you talk about the Watson machine learning, right, it has an inbuilt management and monitoring system, which basically controls the version, and it also does the entire deployment automation, right? Using various approaches, either a batch approach or a streaming approach, or using core ML, or Dockerized containers, right? Either of that you can even expose them using APIs also. You know and then to operationalize your insights, you have all those MLDL models with using R, Python, Dash dashboards, Jupyter notebooks. All of them are available there, right? So we will see that all of this there. I guess this has fairly given a good insights about what is Watson Studio, what is Watson machine learning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick pause here. And the good piece is, guys, you can deploy this entire pack, this packet that we're talking about on any cloud or a on-prem, maybe on your college data center. In case you are running your applications on AWS, you can deploy it on AWS or Azure or wherever, IBM cloud as well, right? So you can do that. So let me take a pause here, guys, and I would like to see if there are any questions at this point in time. Any questions from the participants that you would like to ask? Any questions that you would like to ask about? I understand this is too much of in one go knowledge, so that's why I'm taking these pauses, these logical pauses, so that this can sink in. And in case you are facing any challenge, do let me know. I'll be more than happy to retake those concepts again. Any queries, guys? Okay, I don't think there are any questions at this point in time, right? So let me go back and let me. Okay, so I'll take let's stop here from a deck point of view. I'll go back to my cloud account right now. Okay, so here I am on my IBM cloud, guys, and I told that I'm going to focus on AI machine learning services. These are 19 services here, right from Watson Assistant, which is about creating chatbots. Then I have this Watson Studio. We're going to dig into this today. There is another service which basically has an annotator for clinical data. This is so much very good for people who are working right now on COVID in some manner or other, right? They can use this. There's a natural annotator for clinical data, which can, extract medical codes, concepts about diseases, lab values, medications, all of that it can do on its own. Similarly, there are a couple of more services like Discovery, Compare and Comply, Knowledge Studio. We talked about that, right? Language translator between different languages. Then you have speech to text, text to speech translator. There you have a natural language classifier, which can use natural language processing and ML techniques to create classification model, custom classification models. You have a personality insight service, which basically can derive data from various social media handles about psychological traits of a particular person or a particular website or any object for that matter, right? You have a Watson knowledge catalog, which can discover and catalog and securely share enterprise data. You have a visual recognition service for doing image analytics there. We also have a Watson OpenScale, as I showed you earlier, right? I'm not going to go into this for now, but then for today, I'm going to dig into only two things: Watson Studio and Watson Machine Learning, right? So I already have a service running for me about Watson Studio. I'm going to look for that service. I'm going to open it up. You can always go to Watson Studio and create a service. It's very simple. You just have to name a service and it will create it for you. Okay. Once you create a service, you will get a dashboard like this, the one that you see right now, which is coming up. Okay, this is the service. I have not associated it with anything. I'm just clicking on get started here. Okay, now underlying this service is that IBM Cloud Pak for Data. See this, the IBM Cloud Pak for Data. This is actually a huge big umbrella under which there are plethora of offerings. So we will see that in a while, right? What all the particular service offers to us. Okay. I can always go and create a new project. I have a few projects already up and running, which I can actually dig into one of these projects from here. What I can do is I can I'll just pick one of these projects. Yeah, I'll just pick one of these projects to give you an insight. I can always create a new project from here. Okay. Okay, so let's say we just have created a new project, and once you create a new project, this is where we get into. This is what we see. overview, assets, environment, all of that. Don't worry about so many things that you see. Now, this is the most beautiful part of this overall service, right? Uh, as a part of the Watson Studio, I can do all of this here. What I can actually add a data from a local machine that I want to upload, maybe a CSV file, Excel file, or whatever I want to. I can also create a connection to a data source from some other cloud or some other data center. I can also have a data created where the data connection cannot be done, right? I have an auto AI experiment which I can add to it. I can add Jupyter notebooks to it. I can also add a visualization dashboard without writing a single line of code. I can add the visual recognition model, which can classify the images or detect objects with some custom models that I have defined. I also can have a MDM here, an MDM cluster configuration, which basically creates a master data entity for representing twins for the customers. It basically creates a model and map. Then I have a natural language classifier to classify textual content. This is even better, right? I can actually create a model from a file, right? I can analyze the data with a machine learning or a deep learning algorithm. In case people who are working on deep learning projects, neural networks and all, they can also create a deep learning experiment from here, right? And they get, I'll show that they basically get a GPU allocated by default to this. You can create a SPSS modular flow, or you can import a modular flow in this through this, asset that we have here. And then there's something like data refinery flow for creating and cleansing the data. Streams flow for streaming data, again, for ingesting, analyzing, and operating on the data. And the decision optimization experiment, which uses Cplex optimization engine, okay? So depending upon what you want to do, you can, add and include and do and all of that here. For the sake of easiness and for the sake of brevity, I'll quickly, try to create this is the most easy, handy thing that I always give a demo. Mostly I give a demo of this. See this, I just named this as auto AI experiment as SSTC, and by default it has associated a machine learning service which is already existing for me, PM20, right? Just a machine learning service which is existing, and it is automatically connected with this experiment, this project of mine. And also it has given me a default configuration of 8 virtual CPUs and 32 GB RAM. Okay, I can always go and change this depending upon the requirement of my project. Similarly, if you are creating a deep learning experiment, you will see a GPU getting allocated here for the experiment to you. Okay, so let me say I want to create this experiment. Let's say I want to create. This is the most easy to understand, explain, learn, service, guys. Those of you who are new to it, I like you to focus on this. This is really very easy to do things. So the moment I create this auto AI experiment, the next thing it is asking me, add a data source, right? What is the data that you would like to analyze using auto AI? Now I can, browse from my local machine. I can upload it from somewhere else. So I say I have a fraud data set, which is about financial data. I say, please read this data. Now see, it is right now reading the data. Okay, and it has read the data in maybe a Jiffy, and it has now come back saying that, what do you want to do? What do you want to predict with this data, right? And it will populate the entire, all the attributes of the data set for me over here. This is my, the schema of my data set that I have given to it. So let's say I want to predict something on, let's say, fraud risk, right? Okay, so the moment I give it this, it comes back and says, binary classification is a great way to, do a prediction on fraud risk. And it says that you can, you can pick for accuracy as a metric here. But let's say I do not agree with this, I can always go and I can change the experiment. Okay, so here is where I can change the split of my training versus testing data, and which columns I want to leave out, or which column I want to use in my prediction. I can click on those and I can leave on the others. This is one setting. In case I say, no, I don't want to do a binary classification, I want to do a regression, I want to do a multi-class classification, I can pick up one of these there, right? And once I did there, then I can also pick that what accuracy metric do I want to do? I want to do it on a precision or a recall or a F1 or a ROC curve? What do you want to do, right? And then there is almost like a huge list of algorithms, guys. So whosoever is working on machine learning will definitely will be able to remember and connect to this. That once you are working with your data set, the first thing after you have got your data set, the first thing that you do is, which machine learning algorithm will be a great fit with this data set so that you can get optimum results. This is a very big question mark for you, right? So this is what we are going to address today, and we'll see that in a while. And then the runtime, right? So you can always go back and you can change these settings. Right now it's doing the initial model tuning with 25 iterations, feature engineering with 60 iterations, and final model tuning with 50 iterations, right? You can always do all those changes, right? I told you runtime changes can be done. Okay, so I will not get into this right now. I say please run the experiment for me, right? So I haven't done anything. I've just given it the CSV file, and rest of all it is automatically defined. It has automatically given me, right? It wants to do a binary classification, and what all tuning, number of tuning iterations it wants to do. All of that is being automatically done. I'm not doing anything. Now I'm sitting back. I'm sitting back in my chair and I'm only relaxing, guys, right? And the service is right now ingesting my data, the fraud data set.csv. Once it ingests my data, what it's going to do is it's basically going to create a few pipelines. Okay, pipelines based upon the various machine learning algorithms which are already embedded, which are already encoded, and the service is going to use those, and it will find me the 6-7 pipelines which are most suitable for this type of classification for this data set which I'm intending to do. Okay, it will take a while for me, so I will let this happen because I want you to see this in case you haven't seen this earlier. Auto AI is definitely a beautiful service to assist research. I will tell you how it really helps in doing, in accelerating. That is what we'll do as a hands-on in the next session as well. How do you accelerate your machine learning research? How do you get results, quickly? This is what we'll be doing using Auto AI. So till this happens, I will go back to my, see this, it's right now, understanding the data, 90% training data, 10% holdout data. And once it has done that, it's basically gonna also create those pipelines. So in a while, you'll see all those pipelines getting created after it is completed the pre-processing here, right? So it's done with the pre-processing. Now it is selecting the various algorithms that is suitable for this, right? So it's using 10% of training data right now, and it is discarding various algorithms which are underperforming. Okay, it's only taking up the top algorithms. Okay, so see, it's already started training, right? See here, it's already trained the first pipeline with XGB classifier and it's able to achieve 92.9% accuracy here. Okay, it's working on the second pipeline right now, and it has taken up XGB classifier. On top of that, it's doing a hyperparameter optimization, right? See this? So it's done with that as well, right? So now it's working on the third pipeline here. See? Okay, see, so even with the hyperparameter optimization, it's only been able to achieve 92.9% accuracy. There is no change there, no considerable change there. So it's moved on to the next pipeline, right? The third pipeline, right? So that's what it is doing. Let me go back to the pipeline comparison, though it's very early to do that, but then, you can find all these various parameters at different points in time, which this service is actually right now analyzing and going to give me in due course of time. We'll come back to it in some time again, guys. So right now it's actually doing a feature engineering on top of our XGB classifier, right? See this? With feature engineering, it's been able to achieve 93.3% accuracy compared to 92.9% accuracy, right? So there's a slight increment there, right? So this is the the starred one, right? The highest in the leaderboard right now for me. But it's not stopped yet. It's actually in the fourth pipeline, and it will actually train some 7-8 pipelines for me and come back with a comparative study of all those 7-8 pipelines. Okay. So till this happens, I'll take a pause again here. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. Any questions, guys? Any questions? In case you're feeling shy to ask, you can put it on chat.
I think once they download and access themselves, probably they'll get a better understanding, I suppose.
Hope so, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, what I'm gonna share with you in some time is, yeah, you want to say?
Just a question. This holdout is generally 80-20 ratio?
You can always change that, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Generally,
Yeah. So it's not a setting which is etched in a stone. You can always change that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna share 2 PDFs after this that we are done with. This is, I'm going to show you that. So once you register on the AI portal, please go ahead and download IBM Watson Studio Desktop Edition. There is a link, you can directly download it from there. This is not please do not use this link. You can use the direct link from the Academic Initiative portal and just simply download, this particular tool there. There is a step-by-step approach to do that. And yeah. You can also add, once you have downloaded, you can also add, there are some, add-ons to it. SPSS Modeler is an add-on. Jupyter Notebook is an add-on to it. Please go ahead and add those add-ons, and, we will be able to do some hands-on in next session for this. Okay, so let's see where we are. So right now it's already trained 6 pipelines with me, for me, and is still, the best accuracy achieved is 93.3%. And it's already used gradient boosting classifier with hyperparameter optimization as well. So let's see what it actually gives me. Now, if I go back to the pipeline comparison, now see it's a lot more, rich now. See, now all these graphs and charts can really help me in actually, in writing my research paper, and can really provide and give me a beautiful research paper when it comes to, obtaining charts, graphs using this service, right? This is my pipeline leaderboard, which has all the details about every service, right? Various parameters, everything is made available. I'll show you in a while as well, this particular thing, right? But this is something which I really appreciate, the way, I get the, various parameters for a certain model, and the parameters there, right? You can see, how precise they are. You can really, use this comparison in your research papers when you are trying to put across a case that why a certain algorithm is being used and why not others, right? Same is with this. Instead of banging your head with 50, 20, in case you're doing a classification, then it's almost like 30 algorithms. In case you're doing a regression, it's almost like 40 algorithms, right? So instead of doing that, this can really help you get started quickly off the block in terms of, which algorithm to target with this particular data set. That is where I'm coming to, right? So I guess, it's already getting over. It's on the 8th pipeline. And yeah, see, I've already, the system has achieved 93.5% accuracy for me when it has done a gradient boosting classifier and has done hyperparameter optimization and feature engineering on top of that, right? So it's been able to achieve 93.5. I guess that's it, right? Yeah, it's done. It's almost done. So within no time, guys, I am able to actually give a data set to the service. The service is able to ingest, give me some accurate measurements, and tell me which is the best fit algorithms for me to get started. See, 94 is even better than 93.5, right? So it is telling me that gradient boosting classifier with a hyperparameter optimization 2, which had 60 iteration, if I remember correctly, is giving me a 94% accuracy. Now, this can be my starting point. This is not the ending, guys. This is my starting point. But I got to my starting point so quickly. If I was a researcher, then I would have actually come on to this conclusion after maybe a couple of months of doing hard work. Exposing my data set to various algorithms, comparing their results, and, seeing. Now, if I go from here, if I actually start from here, that gradient boosting classifier with, all these training, hyperparameter optimization and all, and then I can do something more on top of this. I can bring in some more ensembling techniques on top of this to maybe hybridize it and maybe, get even better results. Now, this is where my research really starts from there. And this is not all, guys. So let me just click on this, right? Let me just click on this. Okay, so it is telling me, it's going to give me the entire parameters of, what's the area and the ROC curve, what's my, what's my confusion matrix, right? This is my confusion matrix, right? This is my recall curve, precision recall curve. It will just give me that in a while. Yeah, it's there. And, this is the model information for this particular thing, right? So 24 features used, number of evaluation instances 83, right? So I can get all of those details there, right? This is the feature transformation that's been done. Okay. And this is the feature importance, right? This is also made available to me here. Being married is one of a very important feature, right? Compared to when you're actually doing a fraud prediction for somebody, okay? Okay, so let me go back, but this is not what I'm interested in, guys. I want to tell you something more about this, right? So I haven't written any single line of code, guys, so far, right? But what this service also does for me is I can publish this entire model, this entire AI application as a model for others to consume, right? I can actually deploy it, and others can also use it for doing predictions. So let's say I'm writing a research paper, I can deploy this model on some public link, and then I can publish that link on my research paper, where others can use my model with their own data set. See, my paper gets cited, my paper gets quoted, and people are also using my work. And this is not all, actually. I can also publish the entire whatever has happened in the background. This entire can be converted into a code. See, let's say I want to create a notebook with two approaches. Either I can use a Watson machine learning notebook, or I can use a auto AI, which basically has a scikit-learn and sklearn, all those open source libraries, right? So I can even create that. I'll show you in a while. This is getting generated now. um, See here, yeah. So let me see. I want to see this notebook which has got created here. Okay, and this notebook can run anywhere, on a local machines as well, on some other cloud as well, wherever you want to take this. Okay, see, this has actually compiled the entire code behind for me, like what all libraries do I need to import, right? It gives me everything: sklearn, AutoAI, NumPy, and then how do I actually instantiate the various pipelines that we was talking about, right? That all composition of pipelines is there. You can all you have to do is just execute this code without even writing or changing anything. At most that you could actually want to change is you can change the data, right? The CSV file, which is right now it's here, right? Fraud data center CSV. You can actually add your own CSV file and the location for that, right? And you can run this entire notebook with that. So I have not written a single line of code, guys, but the service has given me an entire notebook which takes into account pipelines, instantiation, pre-processing of data, splitting the data into training holdouts, and all of that. How do I do a feature extraction for doing a feature engineering? All of that is basically done here in the code. And I have not written any of this, by the way, right? So this was entirely made available from this service to me. Hmm? And this is just, by the way, one small service of the entire Watson Studio, guys. Let's remember that, right? So I'll go back to the project that I was, and I will again show you what I meant with what I just said. Out of all the various projects of all the various editions that were available there, I only used one thing: auto AI experiment. And I've got hell lot of other things over here which I can make use of, and I can make my machine learning or AI journey so much more easy and interesting at the same time, right from doing a deep learning experimentation to a model flow to doing a natural language classification model from here. So all of that is very easy to do for me from here. So I'll take a pause, guys. If there is any question, do you want to ask something? We are good with whatever I've talked so far. Okay, so in case you're good, guys, what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to send a mail to the organizers, and they will in turn forward it to you. I want you to register on Academic Initiative portal and download this Watson Studio desktop edition. I'm not going to send PDFs now. I guess you are all familiar with that. I'll simply send a mail to you with the link, and you can just so for example, I'll quickly show that to you. Okay, I'm already registered. Let's say I'll show it to you that once I log in, what do I get? Any questions, guys? Feel free to unmute and or put it on chat or whatever works good for you. Um, In case you see a few errors, please do not get bogged down. Sometimes because of various other things, the site may actually, sort of, and it's a global site, so you get a lot of traffic coming in from different quarters over here. Oh, what's wrong, man? Login now. I'm actually having some challenge, I guess. Um, but once you are registered, you will actually get access to download the various things over here. And what I want you to do is you need to go to the data science tab there, and you have a download available for a Mac machine, and you have a download available for a Windows machine as well. So please pick one of those depending upon what machine that you have. It doesn't matter. It's basically a heavy software, because it has a lot of things. Watson Studio, SVS is modular, even integration with Jupyter Notebook. So it's a bit heavy, but then once you download it, it will be like a one-stop shop for doing all your data science, machine learning activities. You can use it for that. Okay. Any questions, guys? Otherwise, I'll stop here. And yeah, maybe I'll connect back on the next in the next session. But then before the next session, I want all of you to really download and get it started. These are the links that I talked to you about. In case you need any help, you can come back to me, and we can take it up there. I'm putting all these links in the chat again. In case you have an institutional email ID, please use the bit.ly link to seek access. In case you do not have an institutional email ID, you can request for a Smart Interns email ID, which is there. Till December at least, you can download all these software and you can access all these contents there. Okay. So one last pause, and then I'll wind up. I have another meeting post this, so I guess we started a bit late, and I thought I'll finish it up by 3:20. So let me know in case there are any questions. Otherwise, well, good, ma'am. I'll hand it over back to you.
Yeah, Mr. Madhukar, I was asking, the data format has to be CSV file?
Yeah, for using the Auto AI service, right?
Yeah, Auto AI. Yeah, Auto AI graphical tool.
Yeah. That has to be in CSV.
What about the size?
Any size, ma'am.
Acha, okay.
Oh, no, there is no size restriction there on the data set, ma'am. So please go ahead and use the way you want it to. People even use it for a couple of GBs data size as well. So yeah, that's it. Any other question? Guys, anything else you would like to ask? In case not, you can always reach out to me at LinkedIn at the rate Mani Madhukar. I'll be more than happy to help. Ma'am, back to you.
Yeah. So I think there are no more queries.
Yeah, people aren't talking, so I guess there are no more queries. So yeah, in case you're able to do this installation, guys, we'll be able to do some hands-on in the next session. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I hope we'll make use of these, access these resources and use it for our projects, maybe for our research and for students.
Yeah.
So I think faculties will avail the, this is open till you're saying December, is it?
No. It's completely open forever, ma'am. I'm saying in case you do not have email IDs, college provided email IDs,
fine. Yeah.
And you want to get one for using, downloading the software, you can use this Smart Interns mail ID, which is valid till December. But otherwise, your account or your whatever you're creating, this is forever valid. Everything that you download, these are all licensed software. This will be running on your local machines, and you'll be getting a year-on-year extension of the license. So you don't have to bother about any of these. These are no charge.
Okay, so we'll post these links in the local WhatsApp group also. So
I'm going to send you a mail, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Please forward that mail to all the participants.
Yeah, we'll post in the Google Classroom. The post will go to all the students.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.